Hello and welcome to another episode of the Smash Accept podcast. I'm your host, Michael Royer. You can find me on Twitter at Dynasty Dad FF. We're just going to jump right into it today. We have a lot to cover. We're going to cover our top 10 May buys. Nobody better to do that with than my main man, Snoog. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good, Dad. Everyone's starting to come out of the den. Rookie drafts are cranking. People are buying, trading like crazy in Dynasty League. So I'm excited to jump into this one and talk about some of our favorite buys that you should be targeting in Dynasty because Dynasty is one in the offseason.
Absolutely. So while you pull up some trades here, I'm going to talk about the first buy. My first buy is Drake London. So I put out every single month, I put out the Dynasty Dad approved buys on Twitter. I put, for rebuilding teams, for contending teams, who you should be buying, what the bargain buys are. And this time of year, everybody starts to get rookie fever. They're all in, right? And I'm seeing people trade 102 and 103 for Drake London, or 102 or 103 plus a second. And I'm just like, okay, Drake London, we're getting a 23-year-old wide receiver right now who's just been improving. Year one, 866 yards. Year two, 905. This past year, 1271. And then you look at the 3 games he had with Michael Penix. The amount of fantasy points per game, the production is insane. Kirk Cousins, it was 15.1. With Michael Penix, it's 22.1. So like he started to actually get relevant quarterback play. Neither myself or Snoog like Michael Penix as a long-term dynasty asset, but we do see him as a Tua Tagovailoa type, a guy that's going to be accurate, a guy that's going to be able to feed his number one target. And the Falcons didn't bring in anyone. I mean, like Nick Nash, that's all they're at. The 3 games with Michael Penix, Snoog, 22 catches, that's third in the NFL over that time period. 39 targets, that's first. 352 yards, that's first. 6 20-plus yard receptions, that's also first. Snoog, I see a scenario where he hits 110 receptions, 1,500 yards, and double-digit touchdowns. He almost did it last year, and people are treating it as if, he should be seen arguably as in that elite tier. Like we're putting a lot of people above him in Dynasty. I'm ready to look at some trades here because I'm seeing rookie fever where people are saying, well, Travis Hunter in a second. And I'm like, we love Travis Hunter, right? We love Tedoroy McMillan, but we hope that they turn into what Drake London did last year. And I think that's when trades start to get interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to bring up a couple of trades right here for you to kind of jump into some of this. So I see you have him kind of in that 102 equivalent. I think that's very accurate. 104 and the 204 are Drake London.
104 and the 204 are Drake London. I'm smashing Drake London. I mean, I like what's at the 104 because 104 is, for me, the hot spot of this draft because you're going to get either Hampton, Tet, or Hunter. And man, Snoog, we're going to do another show, but I keep seeing Hunter and Tet going between 6 and 8. And I'm like, you can like these running backs, but you sure as hell better love these wide receivers. Like these guys got elite draft capital and landing spots. So give me that Drake London side all day.
What about Travis Etienne in the 103 and a 26 fourth or Drake London in a 26 third?
I don't think the 26 third should be on there. I mean, I think Etienne's value has definitely dipped. I think he's a severe buy low. Like I think in a bunch of the drafts, I've been trading 1.7, 1.8, all the way down to 112 for a 27 first plus Etienne. And I think that gives you an insulated trade, but I want London here all day.
Okay, cool. And last one, here's a good one, actually. I like this one. We've been seeing a lot of people with the Tucker Kraft stuff, the Dynasty markets all over him. Tucker Kraft's in the 104 in tight end premium for Drake London.
See, that one's a little bit closer. Tucker Kraft is an interesting one, right? Because I've said in Dynasty, I want McBride or Bowers or Kittle, and then it's Tucker Kraft. But I mean, now that they got Matthew Golden, they go out and they add another weapon in there, and Luke Musgrave's going to be healthy this year. I think Tucker Kraft could see a little bit of regression. So in this particular trade, again, if I need a tight end really bad and I can get Tedoroy McMillan and Kraft, I'm okay with that pick. But for me, a lot of times Tucker Kraft is my tight end 3. So I use that to kind of use an upgrade. That was my primary buy. I love yours here. I mean, this is a guy that honestly every single year just seems to be slightly underappreciated. Sell me on A.J. Brown here and his 103 equivalent.
Yeah, so to me, I think everybody has a bad taste in their mouth with A.J. Brown just because all the diva stuff that happened last year with him upset he's not getting the ball. Well, newsflash, every single good wide receiver in the NFL will be angry if they're not getting the football. That's just how it works. That's the game that they play. They want to prove that they're the best player on the field, and that's A.J. Brown, especially in an offense that needed it, right? They kind of went through a little bit of a hump where they could run the ball, but they weren't throwing the ball very well. A.J. Brown felt like that he could be that guy, but This is a guy that's paced 1,400 plus yards in 3 straight seasons that he's been in Philly. This past year, everyone's like, oh, well, he underperformed. He had 1,000 yards in like 11 games playing with a hamstring injury. He was super elite. I've seen him go for the 105. I've seen him go for the 106 in a second. I've seen him go for the 104, and you get A.J. Brown in a second. Like, take advantage of the rookie fever on A.J. Brown right now because he can win you your league. Like, he has that upside in his bag 24/7, that 40-plus point upside game that he always brings you multiple times. I mean, he is the clear-cut number one guy on that Eagles offense in the passing game. And to me, if I can get a guy like this, still 27 years old, with one of my, say it's 103 to 105, or maybe take my 106 and add a second, or add a second.
That's it.
Third.
That's it.
Or add a second in Jacoby Myers. Like, that's the trick right there, is you want to take your 105s through your 107s and throw assets on top to get an A.J. Brown. And that's what I've done, and a lot of people have been doing in rookie drafts and stuff that I've seen.
And I almost was about to say the same thing as Drake London. To me, I would sell the 102 even, right? I think A.J. Brown's worth the 103, but I'm not trading it straight up. You know, like I would rather go from 106, 107, 108. So let's pull up some trades here. Definitely have a couple here that I think are very interesting. First one that jumps out to me, Snoog, is an insulated trade. It's more of a veteran insulated trade, but let's call it a mid-26 first and A.J. Brown or CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, I think this is very fair, especially if it's going to be in that like 105 to 107 range. If I can guarantee that, I want the A.J. Brown side. The production's going to be probably similar. I think you got to give the edge to Lamb because he's probably going to get 400 targets, but it's super, super close for me here. I think that's like a great insulated trade in a deeper format where my team stinks and I need a first to play with to go get another Zay Flowers, DJ Moore, Devontae Smith type of player.
Another one here in a half PPR, Ricky Purcell and the 108 or A.J. Brown.
Yeah, see, these are exactly what I'm trying to do and what I'm telling everybody I've been doing roster reviews for that don't have A.J. Brown. I'm like, take Ricky Pearsall, Josh Downs, all the Keon Coleman's, and pair up your 107, 108s, 109s and go get A.J. Brown. So smash on the A.J. Brown side.
Yeah, there's another one here. It's Ben Sinnott, Elijah Mitchell in the 104 for A.J. Brown. And that's, for me, you're pairing up those turd sandwiches, right? The last question I have for you here, and this is an interesting one because people start to talk about age. Kenneth Walker and the 205 or A.J. Brown?
I want A.J. Brown. Yep.
Yeah, I think a lot of people start to look at the age and they don't realize that A.J. Brown at 27 turning 28 is literally the equivalent of Kenneth Walker at 25, right? Like, because Kenneth Walker has another year or two, maybe a little bit more, where A.J. Brown at his size is going to really be a guy that I think, honestly, ages out really well. I think the bigger guys in fantasy, the taller targets, they tend to do that. That was our guy in the 103 area. For me, Snoog, now I was buying for the 104 with rookie fever. I think the 105 equivalent is very fair. For one of my favorite foundational wide receivers is Rashee Rice. Right now, Rashee Rice in his last 9 games, 85 targets, 69 receptions, 687 yards with 5 touchdowns. That's 18.63 fantasy points per game. Snoog, he killed it at the last 5 games of his rookie year. He killed it the first 4 games before getting injured. Everyone's worried about the PCL. That, if you look at the video right now, Snoog, that just came out and I posted yesterday, my man looks like he's in midseason form. Like the way he's cutting, the way he's moving in the open field, like it just looks like he's ready to go. And he's using this. The great ones, they take these injuries and they excel and come out even better. And there is that looming suspension. But if it happens at this point, because it's taken so long, it's going to be 4 games or less. Like, it's not anything serious. And people still, I post about him every single time. If you search in Rashee Rice in Dynasty on Twitter, you're going to get about 10 of the top 15 are going to be me posting about him because he's just such a good value. Yards per route run, he's top 3 every single season. Yards after the catch, top 3 in both seasons. Give me Rashee Rice wherever I can get him. And the trades, they still don't add up. I mean, you got rookie fever right now at the 105 straight up. If you can tell me I'm going to get either Travion Henderson, Cam Ward, or Rashee Rice, I like those other 2 guys. But Rashee Rice, we already know what we're getting. We're getting an elite wide receiver 1 in an elite offense.
Yeah, I love these trades because it's a lot of what I've been seeing kind of floating around in leagues. Like right away, James Cook in the 302 or Rashee Rice.
Oh, I mean, James Cook is
Yeah.
fine, right? But I think this should be more like an early second or
Yep.
late first. Like if I could take James Cook, Kyron Williams, Josh Jacobs, and turn them into Rashee Rice, like just by adding a little bit, I'm going to do that all day.
Yep. Rashee Rice or Jamison Williams, Tyrone Tracy in a 26-second.
Smash. I mean, that's
Yep.
Rashee Rice. I do like Jamison Williams as a buy. Everybody seems to be trying to trade him almost as if he's worth a second round pick. Like I made a trade. I believe I traded. Oh, geez. I think I traded Bucky Irving, but the guy was going to offer me a top 327 first. And I was like, throw in Jamison Williams. And he's like, fine. Like he's not a throw in player. He's still an Amon-Ra injury away from posting crazy numbers and still being a wide receiver too, even if he doesn't.
Yeah. And then the last one here, another one, kind of like a vet package. This is what we're trying to do, right? Like take your James Cooks, take your Jamison Williams, take your Zay Flowers, take your Tyreek Hills, package them up with a couple other intriguing looking assets and go get a cornerstone asset. And this is exactly what I've been trying to help everybody with it in the roster reviews and the Discords. So Rashee Rice and Tyreek Hill and David Montgomery.
Yeah, that's perfect. Even if I'm contending, I don't want that trade. Like you're looking at two depreciating assets as opposed to Rashee Rice, where if you told me at the end of the year, and right now Rashee Rice is my wide receiver 15, based on adding in Hunter above him, adding in Teteroy McMillan above him. But if you told me he was top 10 by the end of the year, after the suspension went away, because that's what happened with Tyreek Hill, right? As soon as the suspension idea left our head, forget about it. He's up there. And that's what's going to happen again with Rashee Rice. Speaking of, narratives, Chris Olave has gone from a foundational wide receiver to people are buying right now in the Discord for that 109 trade value equivalent. Sell me on Chris Olave.
Yeah, what I like about him is back-to-back 1,100, 1,200 plus yard paces in his first two seasons. His third season, he was a little bit underperforming from like a perspective of what we are hoping with Clint Kubiak in that year 3 breakout. The guy had 2 concussions. He was it was such a down year for that whole Saints offense other than Alvin Kamara. And it seemed like Chris Olave was kind of taking away a lot of the attention for a Rashid Shaheed deep ball. And that's really all the Saints did was run the ball and then throw a deep ball. But Chris Olave kind of started to get back into a rhythm and then got hurt because Derek Carr's just throwing hospital balls at him. But his metrics in his first 2 seasons were elite. His yards per outrun number is super efficient. Everything you want in a wide receiver. Newsflash. The Saints added nobody. He's still the best wide receiver on that team by a mile. He's the clear-cut number 1. Whether it's Derek Carr, Tyler Shuck, I don't care who it is. He's going to be the number 1 guy. We saw Kellen Moore, what he does with the slot wide receivers. I expect to see a lot of Chris Olave out of the slot, which is going to be a lot more targets his way. We've seen him with Keenan Allen. We saw him with CeeDee Lamb over there in Dallas. What I really love about Chris Olave is his route running, his speed, his explosiveness, catches everything thrown his way. He's probably never going to be a top 5 wide receiver, but he could easily crack the top 10 to 12. And you're getting him for, 109 is the equivalent, but I've seen him go for the 201. I've seen him go for 112. I've seen him go for 111. I've seen him go for like 202 in a 26-second, 204 in a second. Like I've seen him get traded in so many leagues, competitive leagues too, but people just don't want him. That's what happens. People don't want him and they sell.
They get the concussion worry. And I actually just did see on Dynasty Data Lab 201 for Chris Olave. Listen, I like Matthew Golden could fall to there and Jackson Dart, but like Olave, that's a good value.
Not Chris Olave.
Snoog, you're gonna love this one. This is prime Jaden Reed and Ramondre Stevenson for Chris Olave. Like, who makes that trade? Like, that's where I don't think Ramondre Stevenson, but even if you make that stay a David Montgomery, like we were talking before, I still think it's Chris Olave. If you could tear up from Jaden Reed, I think you do that. But here's a couple interesting ones. 109, 209, or Chris Olave.
I think that's about like max I'd pay. But if Igbuka's there, I may want. If Igbuka or Loveland there, I want that side. But it's super, super close. But like that's a fair trade. That like if someone wants Chris Olave there, I'm like, yeah, that's his value, not the 201.
Chris Olave or Christian Kirk in a late 26 first.
I want Olave.
That's how it's done. Here's an insulated one that I think really covers with what we were just talking about with Drake London. Chris Olave, a random 27 first, the 203, the 205, or Drake London.
Give me Chris Olave all day long there.
Those 27 firsts, and we're going to do our trade show a little bit later here, but those 27 firsts are getting juicier and juicier. They're ones that I think, honestly, those picks are going to be overvalued here pretty soon because I think everyone feels like, oh, that mine could be early, and everyone's valuing them to the point where, honestly, I've seen trades where you're just like, wow, you gave up way too much. You're like, yeah, but it's a 27 first. It's not the whole class. It's the top 5. Like this is a very good class. Once we start to add it, it could be elite. Once we see Arch Manning possibly fall or some of these other guys. A guy that I'm buying moving over to the running back position, Snoog, is, before the draft, and people are going to rip on me for my next 2 buys were on my top 2 sells, but that's Dynasty, right? Is like DeAndre Swift before the NFL draft. We were worried, right? Ben Johnson doesn't like DeAndre Swift from before. DeAndre Swift, this, DeAndre Swift, that. They're going to draft this running back. They're going to draft that running back. But DeAndre Swift put up a fantastic season, in 2024. Almost, I believe he was right around that 1,000-yard mark, close to double-digit touchdowns. And who's the biggest beneficiary in this offense? It's Caleb Williams, but adding Luther Burden, adding Colston Loveland to already Roma Dunze and DJ Moore. DeAndre Swift will break double-digit touchdowns this year. I think with the amount of deep threats and the other offensive weapons they have, I think he could easily pass 50 receptions. I think he's a top 10 running back in 2025.
I do too.
And at the 204, what are you giving up? Cam Scatterbo? Cam Scatterbo could be fine. Or else Cam Scatterbo could fall behind Tyrone Tracy and just be a complimentary piece. Trey Harris sometimes falls to that area. Trey Harris is not going to pass Ladd McConkey as the wide receiver 1 in that offense. DeAndre Swift trades seem to be way too cheap, so why don't you hit me up with a couple of these DeAndre Swift trades? Because I'm interested to see what the market's on.
Yeah, so that's what I was super interested too. So jumping into some of these, it seems like you can just take a second in a small piece and get DeAndre Swift still. Like I feel like that's still something in some leagues you could get, but I'm sure there is people that have the DeAndre Swift fever like us, and they're like, no, I want to be overpaid or I'm not doing it.
And I posted that he's one of my main buys. And one guy said, I tried to sell him for 2/3 and nobody in my league would do it. And then another guy posted, I wouldn't sell him for less than the 110. So it's like, I think there's going to be a wide range of outcome. Yeah. And when we do these types of trades, and a lot of people go, well, that wouldn't work in my league. Okay, but it's going to work in someone else's. So what we're trying to do is just give you trade ideas. We're giving you trade market values, and then you take it from there, and you never know. 212 in a 27 second. Smash that. Go get yourself some DeAndre Swift. So what do you got for me?
Yeah, so DeAndre Swift or the 205.
Yeah, I'm taking Swift all day. I think the line for me, I would pay the 204 if Harris was gone. If you see Golden go 201, Dark go 202, Harris go 203, I'll take him over Jaden Higgins. I'll take him over Cam Scatterbo. I'll take him over that middling range in that second. I'm doing it all day. So anything after 203, I'm comfortable going out and buying DeAndre Swift for the pick. And I don't think you have to. I think you can give up less.
I like this one. DeAndre Swift in the 208 or George Pickens and Joe Flacco.
George, I'm trying. You can't get off George Pickens.
I want Swift there.
I want Swift too. Yeah, like Pickens didn't get traded, and now we're looking at Mason Rudolph as the current quarterback. It's like maybe that changes, but DeAndre Swift's value is going to go up. There will be a point in 2025 where you will be able to sell DeAndre Swift for a 27 first. There is zero chance you will be able to sell George Pickens for any first.
Yep.
He would have to blow the roof off the place.
Yeah, exactly. This is exactly what I'm trying to do right here. Taking your rookie picks, getting 2 starters, 105 or DeAndre Swift and Devontae Smith.
Yeah, and I have Devontae Smith worth the 106, so that's literally getting DeAndre Swift to move up 1 spot. And I've seen that, right? Like I've made trades where this happens all the time. I've been, at 108 and 109, I'm like, do I want Loveland? Do I want Warren? They're both on the board. And you know what I do? I go to the guy and I'll be like, throw me DeAndre Swift and the 109. You can have the 108. And then you're like, I'm comfortable with either of these guys. And I think DeAndre Swift is at a point where you could just use him for a slight move up, and I'm like, I'll take Swift all day.
Yeah, exactly. So the way I look at that is like, okay, someone probably values Smith 106, 107. I have the 105. Like they really want, and this guy really wants like a Travion Henderson or Cam Ward or whoever's there they love. And it's like, give me DeAndre Swift and I'll do it. And they're like, okay.
Yeah,
I'll do
because
that.
people are blinded by rookie fever at this point in
Yeah.
the year. And you and I have assessed the guys that we want. I mean, I've been posting, I have 36% share of certain players. I have Teteroy McMillan everywhere. I'm getting, Tyler Warren everywhere. I'm getting RJ Harvey everywhere. There's certain players that we say, okay, be bullish and move into that area. But sometimes people are just blindly trading. You're like, oh, DeAndre Swift moves me up a couple spots. Why do that? Another guy in that area that, again, like we said with AJ Brown, I think Alvin Kamara's value equivalent is the 201. I probably wouldn't trade the 201 straight, but there's a lot of different trade ideas here. Every single year, you and I sell the community on Alvin Kamara. Every single year, the entire community devalues him. Sell me again on Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming off a season where he was like RB3 in points per game. I think he was at 19 or 20 with that crapshoot of an offense. Still a crapshoot of an offense, but they got a better offensive-minded head coach now that literally said he's the center point of our offense. He's going to be our guy. He's like the best player that the Saints have had. Like he really is. Like he is going to be a workhorse that gets 60 to 70 to 80 receptions, whether it's Derek Carr or Tyler Shuck. Doesn't matter. He's going to be the guy. Kellen Moore loves feeding workhorse running backs. I mean, we saw him with Saquon last year as the Eagles offensive coordinator. We saw him with Austin Eckler over there with the Chargers. We saw him with Tony Pollard in the Cowboys. He knows how to use these elite space creating, receiving running backs. He knows how to use them to their skill set. So I'm very comfortable and confident in Alvin Kamara if he's healthy to be another top 10 finisher like he's been in points per game for the past decade. Like he's literally been for 8 straight years an RB1. I don't know why anybody just gets sick of him, but I'm buying everything I can get of him.
These trades are wild. Alvin Kamara in the 302 or Stephon Diggs in the 209.
Yeah, I want Kamara all day long.
Like Diggs could be good, right? But he's coming off a major injury where Alvin Kamara and the gap after you get after 208, the gap between 208 and 305 is really not big.
Yep.
Alvin Kamara and Quentin Johnston for, you ready for this? 4 thirds in 2027 and a 27 second.
Yeah, give me Kamara all day long.
I do hate trading 27s and 28s. I'm seeing a lot of you guys trade them. That's so far away, but like that one's not going to hurt. And this is your typical, what I call the turd sandwich approach. But Michael Wilson, Theo Johnson, and a 27 third for Kamara. Like, what are you doing? But this one, let's talk about this next one because this one's a little bit more interesting. Trey Benson and a 26 second or Alvin Kamara and a 26 third.
So I love this trade because I've been telling everybody I'm doing roster reviews for in the Discord. They're like, help me with this team. I need a couple guys. I'm like, well, take Trey Benson, take Blake Corum, take Jonathan Brooks, get those crapshoots off your team, pair them up with a late second and go get Kamara in a third. Like that's exactly what I'm trying to do with all of those players. Take crap, go get an elite veteran running back producer. So if Trey Benson ends up being good somehow, right? He ends up being a great player. He figures it out. He can figure out how to read a hole. You're still getting an RB1 in Kamara where it's like, if he gives you a top 5 finish this year, you're like, okay, well, I gave up Trey Benson. He's good now, but I got a top 5 finisher and it helped me win my league. That's like the hypotheticals I like to play in my head. Like, okay, I could lose this trade or I could get an RB1 for this year and not have to worry about it. So that's kind of how I help people guide through that.
Speaking of getting an RB1 for this year, so just like DeAndre Swift, I was saying sell Chase Brown before the draft, right? And not blindly, but sell him before the draft. And that's the smart thing to do. Now, the market hasn't corrected itself. I'm seeing the trades are still in that same area. I mean, from weeks 9 to 18, he was the RB4 overall, Snoog. 229 carries, 990 yards, only 4 rushing touchdowns, but 54 receptions, another 4 touchdowns. I could see the receptions go up. I could see the yards go up. And I sure as heck could see the touchdowns go up. I like Taj Brooks, but that's all they added. So I think you're looking at 14.4 fantasy points per game in a split role for half the season. I think you could see Chase Brown be a real league winner, someone that I think if I have the 108 and I have to choose, or 109, let's say it's 109, I got to choose between him and Caleb Johnson or Igbuka or Tyler Warren. I think if I'm a contender, I'm really going to take a shot on Chase Brown. But like we keep saying, that's not what you have to do. We're going to give you some more ideas here on Chase Brown. So why don't you hit me up with some recent trades on Chase Brown?
Yeah, Chase Brown to the 111.
Oh, gosh. Seriously. What's there at 111 that makes you want to do this? Like, if you're rebuilding,
people might prefer Caleb Johnson or RJ Harvey, but like, why? I think Caleb Johnson you can make an argument for, but Harvey, he literally is Chase Brown, but he's like the same age already.
I love RJ Harvey. I know we've waffled a little bit. I was Caleb Johnson over Harvey. Now I'm starting to go Harvey over Johnson, but it's splitting hairs. Sell either of them for Chase Brown. Chase Brown is young, explosive, and the Bengals made a statement here in an elite class. They said, we don't really need anybody else. We're going to go with Chase Brown, and we're going to be fine with it.
Yeah, this one's pretty cool here. Chase Brown and Audric Estime or Javonte Williams in the 110.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, Javonte Williams, I'm not sold on. I know some people are really trying to pound the table on it. It's just Jaden Blue's going to be there. Miles Sanders. It's just going to be an ugly running back by committee. I don't think Javonte Williams smashes here.
So we actually talked about this the other night. These are I'm gonna say two trades because they're very similar in my opinion, and it's exactly what you should be trying to do if you're trying to get some contending pieces. The 109 and a 26 third or Devontae Adams and Chase Brown, or a 26 first and 2/3 for Calvin Ridley and Chase Brown. So two very similar trades.
Oh, I'm taking both of them. My two biggest, I put a post out yesterday of my top wide receiver buys, and my all-in wide receiver buys are Devontae Adams and Calvin Ridley.
Same.
Calvin Ridley, no one seems, I just drafted Calvin Ridley at the 306 in FFPC Pros versus Joes. And you're like, what are you doing, people? Like, why would you pass on him for the amount of guys that were going in that area? I was like, this is absurd. Again, guys, when you guys are doing this, make sure you guys smash that subscribe button. We have now passed that 3,500 mark. Our goal is over 5,000 by the season, so help us reach that goal. And if you guys are looking to take your game to the next level, we want you guys to go ahead and check us out. Patreon.com/SmashAccept. We have now went over the 800 mark of guys in there talking shop. You got my content, Snoog's content. We have, you can DM either of us. We have all of our rankings. We have all of our player of equivalents, just like we're talking about here with all these players. And now expedited response times for just Snoog and I. We have different levels of tiers. Some of you guys go into Discords with other analysts, and that's fine. I'm not. And they respond in 2 or 3 days. We guarantee 24 hours, and we have sections in there. If you go to the VIP level, where we'll respond within 4 hours. And I know that sounds like, oh, that's a long time, but when you're talking about answering DMs for 800 different people, we are here to help you guys smash. Speaking of smashing, Snoog, do you prefer Chase Brown or Kenneth Walker in Dynasty? And you have that. I have both of them at the 108 equivalent. So if it's Walker, sell me on why you're smashing.
Yeah, so I'd prefer Walker. I think the ceiling is higher on Kenneth Walker because we've just seen those monster games where he looks like the best player you've ever seen on the football field. Like we saw last year in Seattle, there was like a few games, a stretch where he was scored like 9 touchdowns in like the first 5 games because he's just a home run hitting machine. And he's been catching a ton of passes. Clint Kubiak's there is the new offensive coordinator for Seattle, who kind of has that run-heavy play-action approach, getting his running backs in space in the screen game. It's not going to be Zach Charbonnet because that dude couldn't make a turtle miss in a phone booth. But Kenneth Walker, super explosive, home run hitter. I think Chase Brown has a higher floor, and he's in a better offense, but I think Kenneth Walker's ceiling's higher. They're close for me, though. I just prefer Kenneth Walker's talent to Chase Brown's. And to me, Kenneth Walker and Chase Brown's the class after. Kenneth Walker's on his contract year. He needs to make a big year worth it for him to get a big contract. Same with James Cook, same with Kyron Williams, all those guys. So I think this is the year Kenneth Walker finally gives us that true top 5, top 7 finish.
And there are rumors that teams like the Bears and a couple other really contenders made offers for Walker. If Walker goes somewhere, and the same can be said for Charbonnet. Charbonnet would tear it up. If Walker goes somewhere where he is in a offense where they aren't like, let's just split this up evenly, dude could absolutely crush it. And for trades like this, Snoog, Debo and the 301 or Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker all day.
Jeez.
I'd be throwing him another third just to get him to smash it quicker.
Here's one that has both of your buys here, so I'm going to tug at you a little bit. Jonathan Taylor and Chris Olave, or Rome Odunze, Kenneth Walker, and we'll say mid 25 second.
I want the Kenneth Walker side, and I'm going to take Rome Odunze and turn him into AJ Brown.
It turn him into Chris Olave plus. I like how you think, or something like that. Let's see. Let's go with Michael Penix Jr. or Kenneth Walker and Chuba Hubbard.
I want Kenneth Walker and Chuba here. I'm getting 2 top 15 RBs. I'm going to get my running back position covered. Hopefully I have like a Gibbs, a Brees, someone like that too. And then I'm going to go find another turd sandwich quarterback that I can fill in for Penix.
Last one, because it covers pretty much everybody. DeAndre Swift, Kamara, or Walker, and a mid 25 second.
This one was close for me. I was looking into this one. I think the value is on the Walker side, but I think I want the players in Kamara and Swift.
I'm with you. Last one, we each have a quarterback here to close things out. Has anybody had a better offseason than Trevor Lawrence? Like without doing anything, right? They get Liam Cohen. So now we're talking about a Bucs level offense that's much more offensive minded. They go out and they draft Travis Hunter. Actually, Drake May had the best one, getting Will Campbell, Travion Henderson, Stephon Diggs. But my man Trevor Lawrence is considerably cheaper. Let's pull up some trades.
Yep. So right away, I'm seeing this. I'm curious where your value's at on Trevor Lawrence, like in terms of your rankings. Brock Purdy it's basically Brock Purdy for Trevor Lawrence. Who are you taking there?
I have Purdy ranked higher, but I could easily see by the end of the year that's flip-flopped. I mean, this is the type of move where I would trade Purdy in a third for Lawrence in a second.
Yep.
I think Trevor Lawrence, this is the make or break year, but I mean, I think there's other trades where it's like Trevor Lawrence or Russell Wilson and a random 26 first. Like,
yeah,
seriously, bro? Like, go ahead and package Russell Wilson, or even if that's Matthew Stafford, I'm still taking Trevor Lawrence, or Geno Smith, I'm still taking Trevor Lawrence.
What about Russell Wilson and a mid 26 first or Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, that's the one I'm saying. I'm smashing.
Yep.
I'm absolutely smashing Lawrence. You have to really diagnose the only way, even if that's early in the 26th class, the quarterbacks are not all that great. You know, you're going to get Drew Aller, you're going to get some other guys in there. I think even if it's top 3, you might win this trade.
I got a juicy one for you. Trevor Lawrence and the 101 or Justin Jefferson.
Oh, give me the 101. I think Genty and the 101 are not that far apart. If I need a quarterback now, on the flip side, you know, like I think if I really, there are situations where people have Trevor Lawrence as their QB3, QB4, but I think Lawrence is going to ascend, Genty's going to ascend, and Jefferson's already at his peak value. You know, like he's phenomenal, but his value's already peaked. Another guy very similar to Lawrence, right? Lost a lot of value. He had a good rookie year, lost some value. Tell me why you're buying again on CJ Stroud.
Yeah, because you saw he was the second most sacked quarterback in the league last year. His offensive coordinator couldn't get his head out of his butt. Everything was pointing towards him kind of having a down year. If you just look at the metrics of that offensive line, the system, how they played in the second half, they couldn't run the ball well for a while. It was just a lot of growing pains. And anytime that offense found a rhythm, something got in the way. Stephon Diggs tore his ACL. Tank Diggs broke his leg once they started getting some rhythm and steam. Nico Collins was hurt for a good amount of the season. He was literally throwing a Robert Woods, Xavier Hutchinson, and John Mechie, who couldn't catch a football with his hands to save his life for most of the season. And the issue was not even just bad weapons. Like, you can get away with bad weapons if you have a good offensive line. Like he did last year. He didn't have Tank Dell for a majority of the year 2 years ago in this rookie year. And Nico was hurt for a couple games. He still made it work with like Brevin Jordan, Dalton Schultz, and those guys because the O-line was protecting. It was doing okay. But this past season, it wasn't. But they brought in Jalen Noel. They brought in Jaden Higgins. They built up the offensive line, at least we think. Brought in a bunch of guys. I don't know if they're all going to be good or who's going to be good, but they just brought guys in, and that's what you need to see. He's super talented. I really think he's going to make a splash this year, and his floor to me is like 4,200, 4,500 yards, and he can get up there in touchdowns as well. So I really think he has the talent.
We got a couple of interesting ones here. CJ Stroud and Kyron Williams are the 101.
I want Stroud.
Like that's actually not I actually kind of like that. I mean, and you and I are already thinking this. I'm packaging Kyron Williams for a 27 first plus James Conner. So now all of a
Yeah.
sudden you insulate that even more. Lamar Jackson or CJ Stroud, Isaiah Likely, the 110 and a 27 first.
That one's close. If I'm rebuilding Stroud, if I'm contending and my team's nasty, give me Lamar. But I think in most cases you want to take Stroud. That 27 class is going to be real damn good.
Mm-hmm.
And people, like, if that turns into like a Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, one of Arch Manning, one of these guys, you're just going to be laughing to the bank. So
CJ Stroud or JJ McCarthy in a fourth.
I'm taking Stroud all day long.
I thought so.
All day long.
How about this one? CJ Stroud in a mid 25 second or Jonathan Taylor and 25 seconds. Is a 25 second? That's not enough, right?
No. Yeah, I'm taking the Stroud side all day. 6.4 point doesn't matter.
David Montgomery in the 105 or CJ Stroud. So are you going to take Cam Ward and David Montgomery, or you're taking CJ Stroud? We're not hating on David Montgomery. There just happens to be 3 trades in this show where we're like, take David Montgomery, add his RB2 value, and get something elite. Like Snoog and I really keep pushing. You don't want to build your team with a bunch of mid-level tiers players. You're trying to build elite. You're trying to go out there and you're trying to build the best possible roster to contend. And I think a lot of you guys are really trying to shoot for the middle. You're like, this is nice and safe. Don't do that. Shoot for the moon. Smash a subscription. We love you, all you guys that have been really supporting us on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the process.